right, a very good morning to you, and we do apologize. Our earlier, link was affected. We had a bit of a technical hitch, but we're back, nevertheless, to bring you the latest from Kenya this morning. And I had gone through the newspapers. I will not read for you the headlines, but I'll just go to back to the story that I was looking at before that hitch happened, and that is Uhuru and Ruto split could divide security forces. That is according to Musalia Mudavadi. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi has warned that President Uhuru Kenyatta's discord with his deputy William Ruto could trigger a split among the country's security forces. The head of state and his principal assistant have bitterly fallen out, causing a war in government, as Uhuru is determined to block Ruto's accession to power in 2022. In a no-holds-barred interview on Wednesday with the Star, Musalia said the falling out between the president and his deputy, who is the second in command, portends a danger for Kenya. The former vice president said the division could also spill to the civil service and cripple service delivery. Musalia also served as finance minister. Samuel Tawish, is it that serious? Can it trickle down in that manner?
Thank you so much, Miriam. First of all, Miriam, I think it's wrong for Musalia Mudavadi to try to peddle falsehood and try to sell fear to the people of Kenya that indeed the division between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto portends, or rather signals are very dangerous. The signals are danger in terms of the security or the allegiance that the security apparatus have in the country. Miriam, it is not lost to us that we only have one commander-in-chief in the Republic of Kenya, and that one commander-in-chief is none other than President Uhuru Kenyatta. All these security apparatus actually owe the allegiance to President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the commander-in-chief, and not any other person. So when Musalia Mudavadi comes and says the split between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto will trickle down to the security apparatus, he's trying to tell us that probably because we have security, the security personnel who are drawn, say, from the Kalenjin community and others from the Kikuyu community, maybe they're going to go, there's going to be a split also between these two ethnic groups in the security apparatus, something that has never happened in the country, Miriam. I don't think that our security apparatus can fall that low to a point of course, getting into the politics of the country. Ever since, of course, we had multi-party democracy, Miriam, and ever since we got independence, save for what happened in 1982, and there's nothing that points to the effect that maybe the 1982 attempted coup was instigated by tribal security guys in various security institutions in the country. So it is wrong, and I do not see that really happen, because we have these disciplined forces. These are a political institution, political agencies who do not actually take sides when it comes to politics. Theirs is to guarantee security for the people of Kenya, and when transition happens, it is just to make sure that they protect the government of the day. Nothing short of it. It has nothing to do with politics, Miriam. And therefore, I think it is wrong for Mudavadi to try and have that premonition that perhaps we are going to have a problem in as far as our security apparatus are concerned. When you come to the civil service, as I wind up on this question, Miriam, we have so many other tribes in the country. How will you expect? Do we have people who get employed because they are close or related to Deputy President William Ruto? Are we employing people because they are close or related to President Uhuru Kenyatta? To the effect that if President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto differ politically, then that has to affect the civil service? I do not think so, Miriam. It is something that we should not allow this falsehood to be peddled to Kenyans, Miriam, I submit.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen that, and we've seen disputes before, political disputes between leading figures, and Raila has been a perennial. He's been on the other side of the fence, and a lot of times, we've seen how that has played out, and we've not even imagined as a country that that discord or that misunderstanding will get to the civil service, will get to our armed forces, will get to that is not even something we think about as a country. So why do you think Musalia Mudavadi will think this is an okay thing to say? Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam Ogutu, and thank you for your sentiments, Tawish. But I would love to deviate a little bit and somehow support the said statement from Musalia Mudavadi, because how I'm looking at it, I'm looking at with the current happenings of how recent just. In the recent occurrings, that how the deputy president has just been appearing very disrespectful to the president, owing to the fact that the president is still the head of the state. So for me, I would say for the deputy president, if he really is a God-fearing man as he claims to be, he should respect his boss, because even the Bible says that the leaders, are God's chosen. So another thing, when it comes to this whole issue, I look at if these two are not in cohesion, then we might be having a problem with the system. Then you've seen in past events where he's been called out to, for not adhering to the COVID-19 regulations, whereby he holds masses, and we have people who just show up with no mask, which is something that is contrary to what the president 19 regulations. So, and you see the effect of these, I try to look at it, is that, what happens in the long run is that these acts, especially where he continues to, hold public gatherings and, we have masses of people attend, it's going to breach these other political parties. And because people, this is how they would reason out if the deputy president is able to hold a gathering without any action being taken to, so they also emulate that, because you see they're trying to emulate from what he's doing. Yeah, so I think I would also try to agree partly with Musalia's sentiments. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now let's turn our attention to page 6 of the Star newspaper. KEMSA COVID billionaires to refund cash as Nasir team demands further probe. And senior officials and board members of the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority could be investigated by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission over the 7.8 billion Kenya shillings PPE scandal. The National Assembly Public Investments Committee has recommended that the EACC investigates former chair Kembi Gitura, Joel Onsare, and former KEMSA board members. Also recommended for probe are suspended CEO Jonah Manjari, Director of Procurement Charles Juma, Finance Director Waiganjo Karanja, and Head of Legal Ferdinand Wanyonyi for dereliction of duty. PIC has also invited the Anti-Graft Agency to investigate the top KEMSA management on how it processed payment on some suppliers. The committee specifically wants officers who allegedly backdated the commitment letters issued to Shop and Buy Limited prosecuted. A special audit revealed that taxpayers may have lost up to 3.2 billion Kenya shillings in irregular payments. PIC also further asked that Kenya Revenue Authority to investigate whether all suppliers had declared unpaid taxes due to the tax man. First of all, can we talk about the length in which this case has taken? Even that a public investment committee, the investigations it's been doing and the public hearings it's been holding on this matter. I mean, why do you think it has taken this long? And I think it's a good thing. They've come out with some recommendations. Are we likely to see this follow-up by these anti-graft bodies at Awish?
Thank you, Miriam. Many times we get even frustrated, Miriam, and we get tired talking about this fight against corruption, because there are individuals or institutions that appear not to be fully committed in the fight against corruption. You cannot understand really why up to date, even the EACC, does the EACC have to wait until the parliamentary committee, the Public Accounts Committee does investigation or even makes recommendation for them to swing into action? I don't think that is actually that EACC has to wait or to sit pretty and wait until other organs carry out investigations before they can swing into action. Nonetheless, Miriam, it's good progress that Parliament has made that particular recommendation. We only but now want to see the EACC swing into action and make sure that these individuals are actually investigated thoroughly. We want to see them actually bring about a watertight case, one which is going to nail these individuals who have compromised service delivery for the people of Kenya. Because again, the medical supply, Miriam, for this nation is a very, very sensitive and critical organ that cannot just be left at the hands of a few individuals who have now, of course, swindled the money that was meant, of course, for the drugs and medicine for the people of Kenya. So I largely agree with the recommendation by members of parliament, and I hope the EACC and other organs that are mandated with the fight against corruption are going to swing into action, and of course, including also the office of the DPP and the DCI, so that these individuals can be prosecuted and can be put behind bars. That way, we will be bolstering the morale amongst Kenyans, and also we will be encouraged that indeed the fight against corruption has gained momentum and is not going to slow down anytime soon. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sure this is a story, Sharon, that you've been following since last year. In the blanket of COVID-19, a few Kenyans decided this will be the right time to steal and enrich themselves through this tragedy and this pandemic that we've been trying to deal with as a country and indeed across the world. But finally, the Public Investment Committee has come out with its recommendations of agency board and managers linked to the loss of funds. And are we likely to see action taken and this case prosecuted to the end? And why do you think it has taken so long?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question, and thank you also, Tawish, for your comments on the same. For me, it's also a question on why has that taken all that time. It's a question of laxity and lack of commitment from the agencies. But it's also one thing for the members of parliament to talk about it, and it's another thing to have it, finally in court. And it could be light at the end of the tunnel, and I am hoping that these grievances is going to, be followed through and come to a conclusion. But I'm really hoping that just like I've always recommended, if we can have a point where we are able to tighten, the asset of recovery and the systems of accountability, especially where our public service or rather any matters to do with service delivery is concerned, and so that we don't have also don't have once the ruling is made, we do not want to have a case of a lenient judging where someone is given an option of paying the whatever fine by installments, or also given a lesser amount to what he has squandered from the public. So I think it's a good thing, and I'm hoping this matter is carried through to conclusion. Yeah, thank you, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. So now, of course, the matter has been handed over and the file has been handed over to EACC for further investigations. I can tell you that this is a story we shall be keen in following, because we know President Uhuru Kenyatta promised that this will be prosecuted. So, of course, he does not have the powers to do so. So we are hoping that the bodies that
I would rather have them behind bars and and not paying fines, so that they can serve as a lesson to corruption.
Okay. And just before we leave this story, Tawish, Ekembi Gitura, after the corruption there, he was transferred to be another board member to, is it the Communication Authority of
Miriam, that was the biggest disappointment that Kenyans actually saw, because in fact, you remember even in your previous discussions, I did point a finger at President Uhuru Kenyatta that why does he really allow such individuals who have been indicted, people who are under investigation, people who have compromised service delivery for the people of Kenya. I mean, there are so many Kenyans out here who are competent enough, who are honest enough, and who are ready to take up such jobs. But we cannot understand why those individuals can be transferred. It does then mean it defeats really the fight against corruption, Miriam, because President Uhuru Kenyatta should be leading from the front and actually be a role model by ensuring that such individuals really do not get another or a second chance to serve in any of the institutions, especially when it comes to appointments that are directly related to him, Miriam. So this was very unfortunate. It was very disappointing. And I hope, I remember, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta did reverse that appointment, if I'm not very wrong. And if he did that, I think he must have had, of course, the cry from the Kenyan people that indeed, if he's been leading the crusade and championing the war against corruption in the country, then he has to show us through example. He cannot have one person who has been indicted being given yet another job while he's still under investigation. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you. And that is not one, that is just one case that you've seen somebody being, accused of corruption in one public office, and they're taken to another. We saw Wario, who now the court found guilty last week after he was removed as a CS for sports. He received an appointment with all that bad behavior to go be Kenya's ambassador to Austria, which I think did not happen. But is it a poor oversight from the president's side? Because if you say you're committed in the fight against corruption, but on the other hand, you seem to be rewarding the people who seem to be corrupt or are mentioned in these corrupt cases, do you think there are lessons perhaps the president will learn moving forward when it comes to these appointments of public servants?
Thank you, Miriam. And I'm happy to hear that, he was able to, revert the appointment. And I think moving forward, we should not entertain, such, because for us to fight corruption, we need a concerted effort, and we also need to look into different methodologies to handle corruption. Yeah, so I'm also hoping the same that the president would consider to revert. If it hasn't been reverted yet, his appointment should be reverted. Yeah,
President, you cannot do that.
And perhaps, Miriam, if you allow me, let me just make 1 minute additional point. I think there's something that Sharon was speaking about, the kind of lenient term bails, the kind of, we do not give a severe punishment or do not have severe measures in as far as individuals who have been indicted in corruption are concerned. Because again, when we have a severe punishment, when we give them very tough bail conditions, it discourages other people really from engaging in this vice. But you see, like Sharon did mention, someone has stolen, say, 2 billion, and when they get to court, they are just asked to pay, say, 3 million for them to get out of course, prison. That doesn't really motivate, it does not inspire people, does not inspire Kenyans in as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. So when someone has been, for example, indicted on corruption matters and is given yet another job, how does it then inspire Kenyans? How does it give Kenyans hope that probably we are winning this war against corruption, especially when it is President Uhuru Kenyatta himself who is doing this? So I think he also needs to listen to Kenya's cries. He needs to listen to people's appeals. We are the people who have given him the mandate really to be our president and head of state. And therefore, he does not have just to do things unilaterally without listening to the voice of the people. There are things that we feel like maybe he is not doing right. So the best thing he can do is always to listen to the voice of the people who really voted for him to get into that office. But when he does this in disregard of every concern, then it begs more questions than answers. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you. And of course, MPs now want farms to refund cash, the farms that received those tenders to refund the monies that they over quoted and when they were supplying some of these items, the PPEs. Okay, so there's a story on page, is it 8 of the Standard newspaper before we get to the news where now we are learning that Waiguru is dumping Jubilee, and I wonder to where. Perhaps we should have the answer to that. Now, on page 8 of the Standard newspaper, Itumbi has a case to answer on letter alleging plot to kill Deputy President William Ruto. Blogger Dennis Itumbi, who now works with Deputy President William Ruto, was yesterday put on his defense in a forgery case. Military Court Chief, Milimani Court, not military court, we don't take civilians to a military court, I beg your pardon. Milimani Court Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuku, in a virtual session, ruled that by the close of state's case, there was a probable case that he forged a letter that was allegedly authored by a cabinet secretary alleging assassination of Dr. Ruto. The letter claimed the meeting was held at Lamada Hotel off Thika Road in Nairobi. Itumbi was put on his defense alongside Samuel Gateri, who was to be a star witness in the case. He is accused of fabricating the letter. Gateri was initially listed as the state's first witness alongside 2 Directorate of Criminal Investigation officers. Now, however, Gateri later disowned the state, claiming he had been coerced to implicate Itumbi. The short A ruling by the magistrate opened the door for Itumbi to produce a video recording which he claims to show what happened at the alleged May 14th, 2019 meeting. And having analyzed the evidence before court, I find that the prosecution has approved a case to warrant the accused persons to be placed on their defense, Mutuku ruled yesterday. Itumbi had, at the start of the case, asked the court to allow him to play the video, but in camera. His lawyer, Katwa Kigen, argued that the case before the court was politically instigated. So in a nutshell, Itumbi has a case to answer on letter alleging plot to kill DP Ruto, and we saw how that played out last year. Samuel Tawish. Why now?
Why now? I think that is the question that most people, and more so those in the political circles, will be asking. They are likely going to politicize this matter. It's unfortunate that it has taken long for the investigative agencies and also for the court to make that particular ruling. I think sometimes we need to dispense with these matters as early as possible so that no connotation of politics is being drawn in as far as these matters are concerned. Because as it is now, Miriam, we all understand the political situation in the country. There are people who are allied to Deputy President William Ruto. There are those allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and other politicians in the country. So whenever you try to touch on any of these individuals, they will always come out and allege that it is a politics that is being played, but not maybe the matters to do with criminality. But away from that, Miriam, I think it is good riddance now that that ruling has been made. We want to see Itumbi really come out and defend himself in as far as this. When you try to make allegations that are such serious, in fact, pointing to the effect of life of a deputy president, life and safety of a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, that is not a simple matter, Miriam. This is something that is very serious, something that must be investigated, and we need to get into the conclusion of this particular matter. If at all, indeed, Dennis Itumbi did fake that particular letter that he authored, that maybe there are individuals who are out to eliminate Deputy President William Ruto. This is something that is so serious. We want this matter to be concluded as soon as possible, so that even as we get into 2022, it's not going to be mixed with the succession politics. Because again, just wait and see. You are likely going to see the likes of Dennis Itumbi and politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto parade themselves and issue presses coming out in defense of Itumbi, not really looking onto the objectivity of the case itself. Because by the end of the day, we really want to know whether there were individuals or an individual was out to eliminate Deputy President William Ruto. If there was such a scheme, then such individuals should also be brought to book. But if it was a fake kind of letter authored by Itumbi for political expediency, these two must be dealt with accordingly and expeditiously. I submit, Miriam.
Okay. And of course, no, I think I said the case that happened last year. No, it was in 2019. Sorry for that. Now, Itumbi faces 3 counts, making a false document, publishing a false statement, and reprogramming his mobile phone. I think, according to the report that the DCI, he reprogrammed the phone, and the phone, I think, was helping with the investigations there. So in the first count, the state claimed Itumbi on June 20th, 2019 drafted a letter knowing it was fabrication. Dennis Itumbi on June 20th, 2019 at a known place within the Republic of Kenya made a document, to wit, a letter dated May 30th, 2019, purporting to be a genuine document made by a cabinet secretary. The charge read in part. Itumbi pleaded not guilty on the second. Itumbi is claimed to have published the letter to cause public havoc. This, the state argued, was despite knowing the allegations in the letter were false. So he shared that letter, I think, in his social media account. And I think this is where they might pin him. Because if you're going to share information that is of very sensitive like that. This is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And this information alludes that his life is in danger. And you're going to share this information without counter-checking. And so that is a problem, Sharon Gitonga, don't you think?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a major problem. And I think in one way or another, we should have social media being regulated, because I would say the biggest threat, to peace during and after elections is mainly caused by these reckless bloggers, and it's high time that the government should take action. Yeah, because one tweet in Kenya, one tweet in Kenya is able to make us, a carbon copy of what has happened before in countries like South Sudan and Syria, and like Syria, because I think social media really influences so much, and people need to be very careful and very sensitive on matters, even if it's propaganda, on matters that they post on social media. But for Itumbi, if there's really, if he really has evidence, then he should provide. Because for now we can say he's innocent until proven guilty. But then if he doesn't have, I think he should also face the day. Thank you, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll see how that will play out. Now let's get to page 7 of the Standard newspaper. Waiguru dumps Uhuru Party for UDA, pushed to the wall by the shifting political ground in Mount Kenya. Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru has dumped President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party for Deputy President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance. Mrs. Waiguru yesterday signaled her exit from the ruling party and entry into Ruto's party in Theba Ward yesterday. In recent times, the governor's support for Jubilee Party has been wobbly. Her defection yesterday was similarly shaky. Like the perfect politician, she turned to an ecstatic crowd to provide some assurance, feigning hesitancy. All right, I'll read the translation in English, what she said yesterday. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, because I'm told you will re-elect me, which party should I use? Post Waiguru, the crowd responded with emphatic UDA chants. Now, her exit from Jubilee Party was just a matter of time. Earlier this month, Waiguru complained that Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC was being used to frustrate her after she raised concerns on Jubilee's future. Last week, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka led a delegation to Waiguru's Kagio home to her to join One Kenya Alliance. First of all, One Kenya Alliance, I don't even understand what they were doing there. They have been unable to even come together and put the house in order, and they wanted to bring in Waiguru to that mess. But nevertheless, Waiguru allegedly, or rather, is dumping Jubilee Party to UDAs. I wish, are you surprised?
Miriam, I'm not quite surprised. I'm not surprised because these politicians do not hold on to any ideology. They do not have any principle. Theirs is about their own interest. If they are not best served in this house, they'll seek sanctuary in another house. And basically, that is what Waiguru is doing with the Jubilee Party. And don't be surprised that we are going to have so many of such realignments as we head into 2022 general election. So many people are going to switch allegiance to different formations. And this is something that we are used to as Kenyans. It is not something that really surprises us. Except for a few parties, say, for example, ODM or Raila Odinga and some people within the ODM. Look unto Governor Nanok as we speak today. A person who was elected on an ODM ticket as member of parliament for Turkana, I don't know, twice, and then he became governor twice on an ODM ticket. But simply because now he's finished his second and final term in office, he feels like maybe he does not need ODM anymore. He needs to seek sanctuary somewhere else. That's why now he's coalescing around Deputy President William Ruto. But for Governor Waiguru of Kirinyaga, this one portends maybe death, political death, because again, we have Purity Ngirishi, the county women representative for Kirinyaga County, who's a staunch Deputy President William Ruto's ally from that particular county, and who's also gunning for the gubernatorial seat come the 2022 general election. How they are going to battle it out, Miriam, because I cannot understand. I do not see a situation where UDA as a party or Deputy President William Ruto will give preference to Waiguru over Purity Ngirishi, a woman who has stood with her for all this long. She's gone through a lot of humiliation, you understand, because of her stand and support for Deputy President William Ruto. And so this is just a person who has come in very late. Is just coming in at the 11th minute. Do you think that she's going to be given preference over Ngirishi? So she has to calculate it very well if really she intends to defend her gubernatorial seat come the 2022 general election, because as it is, things are not rosy either in the UDA party. Okay. I submit.
All right. And before I move on to Sharon at Wish, if you were to go with what the Deputy President has been, saying or has been promising for those who seek to vie using the UDA party for next year's election, they will be free and fair. So, Ngirishi has been a loyalist, and now Waiguru is in there and wants to also use UDA party, and I'm sure she wants to retain her seat as the governor for Kirinyaga. So the free and fair primaries there, how is this likely to play out even? And loyalism, yes.
Miriam, there have been very little, if no free fair nominations in political parties in Kenya. I mean, you've seen normally our people and political candidates really fight more during nominations, more than they do during a general election, because for them the nomination is almost a do-die, or is a sure ticket that if you are nominated, for example, on an ODM ticket in Nyanza, and specific, say in Homa Bay or Kisumu or Siaya County, where Raila Odinga commands a huge following, then you are almost sure that you're going to win when you get into the general election. So more often you'll find people who are close in terms of loyalty, close to these the bigwigs or the political party leaders and the parties themselves are the ones who get such favor. So the issue of free fair nominations, that they are going to be subjected into a very credible exercise of nominating candidates that are going to fly tickets, are just words that are being flown out here. But when you get into the reality of it, Miriam, you'll get to understand that things are completely different. You will get to understand that kwa ground mambo ni tofauti, and that is what has been happening in the country. You've seen people cry foul that they were rigged out during nomination because this person had more money than myself, or this person was so close to the party leader or to the hierarchy of the party, and that is why they got a nomination of that particular ticket. So it is not going to be a different thing when it comes to UDA. Deputy President William Ruto himself has been indicted so many times by other politicians in the country, especially in the manner with which he handled the nomination of Jubilee in the run-up to 2017 general election. Last time you heard me talk about, of course, how Ferdinand Waititu got the nomination of Jubilee in Kiambu County, how Governor Sonko, of course, managed to become the candidate for Jubilee Party in Nairobi County, how Governor Wairia managed to beat Ozik Jamle Kamau in the nomination of Jubilee in Murang'a County, and so many of such examples, Miriam. It does point to the fact that you cannot quite rely on Deputy President William Ruto to be a man of principle, to be a man of ideals, and a man who walks the talk, a man who, of course, says the same thing that he does. So it's not going to be different from what we have been used to, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, very well, thank you. And we know from a little history we've known of these two leaders, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, and of course Kirinyaga Women Representative Wangui Ngirichi. They've not been getting along well politically. So will this complicate matters for Ruto in Kirinyaga? Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And clearly, a day in politics is an entire lifetime, because yesterday we are told Waiguru is being, quoted in Oka. Tomorrow she's in UDA. It's quite contradictory. And what I'm seeing here is a very, very, very fierce and tough battle, having in mind that Ngirichi has been there, very loyal, and I think she understands the people more than Anne Waiguru. And for me, I think for Waiguru, it's more of a public stand, and or rather, she's trying to test waters when she says, she'll announce her party, or rather, clearly it also might be a season for political shopping. But my question would be, what do the constitution allow this, and what are the laws that govern political parties? Because clearly I'm just amazed. I don't know. Maybe I can pose the question to you, or what does the Constitution say about this, and what exactly are the political laws, are the laws that govern, political parties?
Sharon, if you noticed yesterday while Waiguru was actually asking the crowds, was it in Kirinyaga County? I can't quite remember where specifically that event was. And she was quite cagey, and she even said, it is not me who is saying that we are moving to another party, it is you, the people. And that's why she wasn't coming out and saying, I'm leaving Jubilee or I'm joining UDA. She left it to the people. She left it in suspense, so that by the end of the day, you can't quite hold her onto account that maybe she has defected from Jubilee, because as we speak today, she is still a Jubilee elected governor in Kirinyaga County until her last day in office. But again, we understand the nature of Kenyan politics. When the time comes, she will have to switch gears.
Still still staying with that, because I want us to wrap this up, but still staying with that, Tawish. We know that Jubilee Party enabled her to have this seat, and we know without Jubilee Party, probably she would not have been the Kirinyaga governor. So is this a slap on President Uhuru Kenyatta's face? And we know she has been protected a lot, even when she was being, NYS, she's greatly mentioned in that scandal and these other things. But the Jubilee Party seems to have had her back. So is this a slap on the leadership of Jubilee Party now that she is planning to leave?
Well, Miriam, I do not want us to actually ride on a narrative that maybe Anne Waiguru has all along been insulated from, say, investigation simply because she's been allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta or Jubilee Party. I mean, we've always carried the crusade that the fight against corruption has nothing to do with politics.
That has been the public perception.
Well, but again, maybe if I should answer your first question as to whether it is really a slap on President Uhuru Kenyatta, I do not think so. By the way, Miriam, President Uhuru Kenyatta has nothing to lose in as far as the 2022 general election is concerned. And more of his focus is about the continuity of his legacy, the continuity of the work that is already begun, which he wants to be secured. And that is why he's also very keen on making sure that the person who succeeds him as a president is one who is not going to be a saboteur, one who is not going to disrupt the peace, stability that we continue to enjoy as the people of Kenya, and also the person who is going to continue with this legacy project in this country, Miriam. And that is, I think, where the focus of President Uhuru Kenyatta is now. But when it comes to these other lower seats, gubernatorial, senatorial, or member of parliament, I mean, President Uhuru Kenyatta has nothing to lose. In fact, if I was to judge it this way, Miriam, I suppose Waiguru is the person who is going to lose big time because one, she's leaving a house where she was almost sure of control when it comes to Jubilee affairs, in not only in Kirinyaga but the larger Mount Kenya region, moving into an already crowded house where there are people who, of course, feel like they have a right which you cannot challenge, the likes of Purity Ngirishi, who is the woman rep for Kirinyaga, and also gunning for gubernatorial seat come 2022. So I think it's going to be a very big Herculean task for Waiguru even to navigate through the murky waters of politics, or especially the 2022 politics. She wants to defend her seat, but again, she has to contend with the fact that she's going to face also a relatively stronger candidate in the name of Ngirishi when it comes to UDA nomination. If at all she's going to live by her word that she's going to move from Jubilee then to UDA, we want to see how this is going to unfold. But by the end of the day, there's one person who is going to cry, there's one person who is going to lose it all, and I suspect this person is going to be Waiguru. I submit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can just add one point where Tawish talked about Anne Waiguru, where she mentioned that it's actually people who decided on her docket to be UDA. But I feel like if you watch the video clearly, it actually looks like 20 people who are actually talking about UDA. And for me, what I try to imagine is that maybe these are people that we all know how politics works. I think these are people who had been, given handouts to shout that. So I don't really think she's after the will of the people, but this was on her own will.
Okay, thank you. So a quick one. After 2 terms, Joho bets his political future on Raila's victory. And so Hassan Joho, the current governor for Mombasa, had declared that, yes, Hassan Joho, that he will be running for the presidency on the ODM ticket. But we did not take that seriously. And anyway, he has abandoned that ambition. But now, I don't know, what do you see his political future? And also, I want us to answer both of this on page 15 of the Standard newspaper. OKA will reveal flag bearer in October, says Kalonzo. Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka toured Nakuru County yesterday in a bid to popularize his party and seek endorsement for his presidential ambition. Kalonzo's tour to the county came a day after ODM leader Raila Odinga visited Molo, where he attended the burial of the late Molo Line vice chairman Kibera Muchai. Kalonzo, who is one of the One Kenya Alliance principals, was received by Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanchui, who has in the recent past hosted 5 other presidential candidates. So Kalonzo is saying in October, OKA would reveal a flag bearer for that party. So both issues, perhaps, Tawish, if you could attempt any of those.
Miriam, I don't know which one to begin with. Maybe if I should respond with the Kalonzo's assertion that they will be naming the flag bearer for the Oka formation. That is?
Go ahead.
That they will be naming the flag bearer in October. Miriam, I've never taken this individual seriously. The only serious presidential hopefuls that Kenyans can take serious will be Deputy President William Ruto and former Prime Minister and ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga. Any of these other individuals, Miriam, are not serious. They have not demonstrated the seriousness or the mettle that any serious presidential hopeful will have. Because again, look into how they are actually webbed in confusion within the Oka formation itself. Today you have Gideon Moi going to Mombasa. I think was it at the coastal region, being endorsed for presidency by the KANU delegates in that particular region. And you have Kalonzo Musyoka also being pushed by the headliners who come from his Ukambani region, pushing him to go for nothing less but the presidency. You have Musalia Mudavadi equally, who feels like he's matured in politics, and he also tried in 2013, got a paltry 500,000 votes, if I'm very fair to him. And he also wants to try once again to contest come 2022. And you have Gideon Moi, who is also someone who is, I will say, he hasn't matured quite politically. You cannot say he commands a huge following, that he has the charisma really to pull a very serious presidential campaign, save that he has a huge financial muscle that gives him, of course, a huge impetus when it comes to presidential election, because that is also a very big factor when it comes to the for presidential hopefuls. But again, for Kalonzo Musyoka coming out, is a person who looks confused. In fact, if you were to get to Kalonzo today and ask him what kind of calendar does he have between now and 2022, in as far as even consolidating his own support base and trying to win other voters coming from other regions in the country, you will find almost nothing, because for him, he has to wait and see that Raila was in Kisauni today and he does the same tomorrow. He waits for Raila to go to Nakuru and he goes to that particular place. He waits for somebody to go to Kisii, he does the same thing. So his is more of a copy paste. It's just more of like waiting for other people to write their scripts for only him to come and read them. But he cannot actually author his own script in as far as politics is concerned. So these are not serious political politicians we have in the country, and they cannot mount a serious presidential campaign unless either they team up with Deputy President William Ruto or they team up with Raila Odinga. If at all, the ultimate objective is to win the presidency come 2022. But if it's just about any other fun, if it is just about another panorama, then I think they are good to go. They can put themselves in the ballot and see how many votes will be counted in their name by the end of the day. Coming to Joho, Miriam, Joho is a person who is matured politically, I agree. A person who was elected, I think, twice as Member of Parliament for Kisauni and became Assistant Minister under the Grand Coalition government, 2008 to 2013. He got elected in 2013 as governor and consequently re-elected in 2017. So this is a man who has matured politically. Don't also forget that Ali Hassan Joho is the deputy party leader of the biggest party we have in Kenya, ODM. He deputizes Raila Amolo Odinga. And for him to consider to shelve his presidential ambition, one, he knows the reality of politics. He cannot fight Raila Odinga within the ODM. Second, he cannot say that he has now more supporters, or he can command more support in the country more than Raila Odinga or any other person within the ODM formation. That is why he decided the reality sank in him and he decided to shelve the ambition and instead support Raila Odinga. I'm sure with a promise that once Raila Odinga maybe wins the presidency come 2022, maybe there will be something for him and maybe the people in the coastal region. And I think he's really banking his hopes on Raila Odinga's victory, if at all he will win the 2022 general election, for him at least to get something. Say, for example, maybe a cabinet slot or an appointment to become an ambassador or to head a parastatal or something of the sort. So I think that is why he's banking his hopes, Miriam. Okay. I submit.
Thank you so much, Sharon Gitonga. OKA, or One Kenya Alliance, will unveil its flag bearer in October. Is it something that you see happening, and who is likely to be the flag bearer of OKA and the future of Joho's political ambitions? Because we know he is in his second and last term as a Mombasa governor. So what next for him from where you stand?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And for me, the question of Oka, I feel like this is just a matter of, I think they're trying to play theatrics, because we cannot have a party whereby all the four principals, are vying, or rather are eyeing the presidential bid. So for me, I don't think these are serious people, and I don't know, maybe it's just a matter of time. Let's just wait for October. As they say, they're going to have a major announcement and see, but I will not be surprised if this announcement will be, for them to team up and work and maybe one of the two horse ride, because it's clear this is a horse ride for two, just like Tawish has mentioned, that is the deputy president and the former prime minister. And then on the issue of Joho, I think it's a good thing that he finally came to a decision to shelve off his presidential bid, and I would say, just like my brother Tawish has said, he must be banking on Raila Odinga. I'm hoping he's able to get a top cabinet slot in the state. Thank you, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. And more Kenyans living abroad may vote in 2022 poll says Chebukati. IEBC plans to extend rights to 6 other countries: US, UK, Canada, Qatar, UAE, and South Sudan. So that is on page 6 of the Daily Nation. All right, that is all we had time for this morning. Thank you so much, Sharon Gitonga. Thank you, Samuel Tawish. You shall be back here, I think, at 10:30 with another discussion. This has been Good Morning Africa. My name is Mina Mugoto. Good morning.